welcome to the show. Today we have a very special guest for you. We have Terissa Kelton. She is originally from Texas, and she's the co-founder with John W. Hyde, and she's the executive vice president of Rehab Entertainment, and she currently just produced Harriet the Spy, and it's streaming on Apple TV Plus. Let's welcome Terissa to the show. Hi, Terissa.
Hello, Marilyn. How are you?
Awesome. Thanks so much for being on the show today. Everyone's going to be amazed to have you. Thank you so much.
Well, thank you for having me. I'm very excited.
Yeah. And where are we recording with you on our lovely streaming right now? Zooming?
Yes. We are, I am in Valley Village, California.
Yeah.
Just north of Hollywood, over the hill, as they say.
Yeah, I think you have more heat, it's a little bit hotter over the hill, right?
Oh, yes, it is. Yes, it is. When I first went to move here, it was in a summer, and I turned to my significant other, and I said, I don't know that I can live here. It's three digits. But I'm here, and I actually really love it. I'm from Texas, so I guess I'm used to the heat.
Yeah, right? Texas has some humidity, right?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, and it's amazing. Like, you're pretty young, and you're executive producing like this fabulous. Like, I remember Harriet the Spy was a book. I mean, in the library, I think I checked out a different book. I was one of those nerds in school. I always checked out books. I was always reading a book, and so like you grew up in Texas. Want to tell us a little bit about Texas?
Yeah, sure. I was, born and raised for part of my life in the deep South. Little place called Cuero, Texas. No one will probably know where that is, but I guess the closest city to that would be Houston or Victoria. And I love Texas. It has its ups and downs, but I eventually settled right outside Austin, Texas. And Austin, Texas is kind of where I feel like I'm actually from. I've always had family there. And it's where I did a lot of my films. The majority of my films were done in Austin, Texas. One of my films actually went to Austin Film Festival. So I have a lot of love for that town.
That's awesome. And then when you were a little girl in Texas, were there any favorite films that you had growing up?
Oh, yeah. I would say that one of my favorites was Beauty and the Beast. The old school animated movie. I remember being quite young and thinking, oh, in this movie, the girl kisses the guy back to life, and it's one of the only Disney movies where that happens. Might be the only Disney movie where that happens, and I don't know. I latched onto that, and I loved it. And who doesn't love the "Be My Guest" song, Mrs. Potts, Angela Lansbury. She's the best.
Yeah, and the little chip and the candelabra and the candle guy. And
candle. Yeah, Lumiere.
Yeah. I think I read that story. Yes, I did. I did an interpretation. I just in my kids' podcast and Chinese book readings. They can check out Beauty and the Beast because it's public domain. Yeah, and I did my interpretation of that. And so I remember that extremely well. It was kind of different though. Like, all those books are a little bit different, but Disney makes such amazing things, like the song and dance and the graphics, and you're just like, oh my gosh. And the fact that you did an animation, like you watched an animation film, and here you are executive producer of, one of the most iconic books growing up.
I know, Marilyn, things in life happen in such weird ways. And I, in my, early career, making live action films in Austin, I never thought that I would be making animated films or TV or anything. And so, when I got out to Los Angeles and I started working with John, who had a very long and successful career in animation, and we took on Harriet the Spy, and our partners were like, let's do this animated. I was like, oh, okay. I don't know what I'm doing. And then I just had some amazing producers and executive producers around me. John Hyde, obviously, Sydney Clifton, all of our execs at Apple who worked on the show with us. Titmouse Animation was our studio. Our director was Allison Craig. Art director was Nico Guardia, and countless other artists who just brought our concept to life and did it beautifully, and taught me so much. And now I'm kind of addicted to the animated space, and I look forward to doing my next thing in animation, whatever that may be.
Yeah, and, so can you share a little bit with, everyone, because you actually were producing out in Texas before you took the jump to LA, right?
Right, right, yeah. So yes, I started in front of the camera in college, and
As an actress,
uh,
right?
yeah, as an actress, exactly. And I wasn't getting a lot of stage gigs at my university, and I thought, well, I really want to act, and I really, want to exercise this muscle. So I'll go into Austin and I'll start trying to get film work. And I was very lucky to partner with a production company that was doing a lot of micro budget independent films. I acted with them for a couple of movies, really small background roles, but really got along with the crew, fell in love with this idea of independent film, which is so, you're in it, and you're moving all the time, and crazy things are happening around you all the time, and you're having to deal with it. Like, you're never bored on an independent movie set. And yeah, they were cool enough to sort of indulge my curiosity about independent film and let me come on as a PA when I wasn't acting. And I got to do, just a lot of different work, uh, being a PA on an independent film. And then they also let me direct a couple of short films. And eventually I got really, really interested in production as a whole, and what being a producer was, and what being an executive producer was. And so they were really excited to have me on board, from sort of script development through pre-production, through production, shooting. I was usually also acting, and then post, and then all of the promotional things afterwards, film festivals, screenings, and all of those things. And so I did about 10 feature films, live action feature films, kind of all different genres, which I really like. I have what I like to call sort of project ADD. I don't like to do just one type of thing. And so, 10 different genres of films over 5 years was delicious for me. And yeah, and then one of the last ones that I did with them went to the Austin Film Festival. And I thought, this is really great momentum. I'm kind of ready to like move into the next stage of things in my career. And so, I saddled up and moved on out to Los Angeles at the top of 2015. And I didn't really know what I was going to do, but I came out here, and I was still doing the actor thing for a bit. I had an agent for a bit. And then I had this great uncle who I hadn't seen in probably over 10, 15 years, who had heard through, the grapevine of family that I was in Los Angeles. And he was like, "Hey, I'm a construction supervisor, and I've got to do some pickup shots for this movie called Scouts versus Zombies for Paramount. Do you want to be the assistant? It's only for like 6 weeks, but you can kind of, it's a job. A, right? I needed money, and B, it's in the film industry, and you're gonna get to add that to your resume and run with that afterwards." And so I thought, well, that's a great opportunity. And so, yeah, for about 6 to 8 weeks, I drove from Silver Lake to Santa Clarita and sat in sort of the middle of nowhere. There was like no cell reception, and I just helped check in the union guys, and they were rebuilding whole sets, and I was just so enamored by that process. And they probably thought I was this like naive, like weird, girl that was just like, I was always so bubbly, like, "This is amazing, guys. Like, y'all should be so proud of this work you do. Like, this is crazy. You're rebuilding a pool, you know." And they were just like, "Yeah, that's what we do for a job." So anyway, that was a lot of fun, and I did that, and then I didn't have a job for a while, and then I had a roommate that was leading a company called Rehab Entertainment. She was the assistant there, And she was like, "Hey, I'll put you up for it if you'd like to go for it." And I said I would absolutely love a job, so yes. And I met my now producing partner, John W. Hyde, and we just hit it off in this interview. I ended up sitting there. What was supposed to be a 15-minute interview turned into like a 2-hour conversation, and he was just genuinely excited about the work I had done, and I was excited about the work he had done. I mean, he had this just insanely cool career doing lots of different things in the industry. If you go back to the 80s, it was Short Circuit, Fly the Navigator, Never Ending Story, movies that shaped my life as a kid. And then all of the animation that he had done, The Simpsons, King of the Hill, all of their, kid stuff. And then just tons of television projects and film projects, and he just he was great. It was just a great it was a great conversation, and I got the job. And I got really really lucky. The person who was the development executive there at the time, she left to go be a mom after a few months, and so it was just John and I. And he said, "Listen, like, I want to keep producing, but I need, like, I need someone to help me out. And if you want to go on this journey, like, let's do it. Let's get a slate together and let's go do it." And in part of my mind, I was like, I have no idea exactly what this means, but I'm gonna say yes. And so I jumped in. I jumped in with both feet, and that's that it's all history now. I think it's been, yeah, it's been 7 years since I got to Los Angeles. It's been about 5 years since John and I became full partners. And then at the top of 2020, I took co-ownership of the company, and became a full 50-50 partner. So yeah, that's sort of the long and short of the or the the quick view of the journey and our slate. One of the first projects we were pitched was Harriet the Spy. And I'll never forget our partners on that, Two Friends Entertainment. They brought us the book Harriet the Spy, and they brought us another preschool book called The Kissing Hand. And I looked at both books, and I was like, "There's no way that these are available. Like, they're both incredibly well known and beloved books, especially Harriet the Spy. I had watched that on Nickelodeon, when I was a kid. It was one of my favorite movies, and it was there. And so we took both of those projects over to the Jim Henson Company, and Harriet took the form of this animated project. And like I said, we worked for a few years to develop it. We brought on a showrunner, Will McCrobb. We built this insanely talented writers' room around him. Haley Mancini, Levi Abrino, Charlie Feldman, and they just cracked this amazing story that was really closely. It was one of our priorities, was to keep this series as close to the original IP as possible, to keep it as close to how Louise Fitzhugh had and had wrote the original book. And they did that in such a beautiful way. And I mean, we've got Jane Lynch and Beanie Feldstein, and Greg Griffin, and our voice director is Charlie Adler, who was in so many animated shows in my childhood. It's just an incredible show. It's truly an incredible show. There's 10 episodes up on Apple TV Plus. Obviously, I highly recommend it. We have, the music in it is great too. I just want to say, for people who might not know much about the series, it's set in 1964. It's set in the original time period that Louise Fitzhugh wrote it. And we have Maggie Phillips as our music supervisor, who was the music supervisor on Handmaid's Tale and Mr. Robot and Shrill and The Great. She is just a pro at what she does. And our theme song is Courtney Barnett. And we just have some amazing throwback songs that we have kind of reinvented for a new audience. So Alex Leahy actually does the name game in one of the episodes, and Aloe Black is featured in one of the new episodes that just dropped. And it's one of the most exciting parts of that show, I think, is the music and the way that we incorporated it into into the show in a really fun way, and lots of talented people, like I said, that are behind that. Maggie Phillips, Anna Warrenker, is our composer. It's just, I could go on and on about the show, Marilyn. You'll have to stop me, but it is
Sounds
truly.
fantastic. I mean, I'm encouraging all our audience. Apple Plus, Harriet the
Yes,
Spy.
Apple TV Plus, and there's 10 episodes up now, and there's more coming in the fall, and there'll be more in the spring of 2023, and hopefully more after that. But it keeps getting better. One of the things that was very exciting about doing it animation is we were able to stay really close to the original IP, but we were also able to explore Harriet's mind in a way that has never been seen before, because we got to use the freedom and creativity of animation, and you just get to go inside of her really weird little head, and that's one of our favorite things about Harriet is that she's just kind of this wild child, who's just sort of unapologetically herself and not afraid to imagine these wild things, and we get to go on that journey with her. So very excited to share her point of view with the world.
Oh, that's amazing. And so you just, come from Texas and like you get this golden ticket, you get this dream job with an incredible producer, but then you become this executive producer. You Congratulations for doing that. Like, I mean, that is amazing. Your first animation, it's a big one with many fantastic people on board. Congratulations.
Well,
And
thank
and then so after that, you're like, what's next? You worked on another animation project, right? Is that the next project that you worked on?
What's next? Well, we have a lot of we have a few different things coming up on the slate. Uh, the biggest highlights I would say are, like I mentioned, John was the original executive producer on Flight of the Navigator, and we actually are have that set up over at Disney Plus. Bryce Dallas Howard is attached to direct, which we're very excited about. It will be her feature debut as of now. She's so extremely talented and popular. I'm afraid that she'll like suddenly be doing 2 or 3 other movies though. But we're all lucky to have her out there directing, and I'm certainly excited to see her direct Flight of the Navigator for the new audience. So that one's very exciting. That's it's live action. We have Short Circuit as well, which is one of John's former movies that he was an executive producer on. That's over with Spyglass Media, and we are working on developing that now. And then we have a project with Rob Liefeld for those comic book lovers out there. Profit, which is over at Studio 8, and Sam Hargrave is attached to direct, with Jake Gyllenhaal attached to star as John Profit, and very excited about that. It's very cool, I think, to have 2 movies that have 2 directors attached to them that are very different, but also kind of interestingly similar. So Bryce Dallas Howard is an actor, and I think what she brings to her directing style, with that acting background, is so important. She is an actress director, and actors are the vessel for, these characters. And I think she does an amazing job of finding those really unique character points of view, and crafting her directing style around them. And then Sam Hargrave, like, came from a stunt. He was a stunt guy, and so he really gets like high action, choreography. He knows how to make things look really, really. I think the word is cool. It's just he makes things look really cool, like fight scenes, and knows how to talk to the actors to get those kind of performances out of them. And so we're very excited to have him on board Profit, which will have a lot of really cool cool fighting and cool choreography, as well as a very emotionally driven character, a story to it. So
That's
those
amazing.
are, yeah, those are a handful of the things. We have a couple of preschool projects too. We have the Kissing Hand, like I said, which is going to be live action puppetry. We're doing that with the Jim Henson Company, and we're very excited about that. I never thought I would be involved in anything with puppets either, especially the Jim Henson puppets.
Oh, that
So
sounds so cute.
so cute. And yeah, we actually have some videos up on YouTube. If you go to the Jim Henson Hub, you can see Chester. We did some shorts with him, Chester the raccoon. We did some shorts with him about sort of giving kids like a tool set for dealing with it, like anxiety and separation anxiety, maybe like first sleepover, those sorts of things. Teaching a little adorable raccoon teaching you how to like deep belly breathe. I feel like even as adults we need that in our lives. So
Yeah, and a lot of
that's some
people.
cute content that you can see from Kissing Hand and from Chester.
Aw, so yeah, and the Kissing Hand, that was a #1 New York Times bestseller, right?
It was actually it was #1 bestseller when 9/11 happened, and I think that is a true sort of testimony to the power of that book, because a lot of parents just felt like they needed a tool set just as much as the kids did at that time. I think I'm very excited to be on a project that is so important, and continually, fortunately or unfortunately, we continue to need those tool sets for the kids, and how to deal with anxiety and deal with some of the crazy things that happen in our world. So it's a dream to be involved in a project like that. It's almost like what you do, Marilyn. You're giving back to the kids too with your amazing podcast.
Yeah, thanks so much. Yeah, because I have the Scribbly Wibblies. So on my channel, if they need something for anxiety, the Scribbly Wibblies, it's all about art. Because they can't see you, but you have a gorgeous painting or picture with lots of colorful artwork, and you have
Yes.
beautiful blue hair, if I'm allowed to say that. And the Scribbly
Absolutely.
Wibblies have a toolbox, and they go visit kids and they help them with anxiety and all that kind of stuff. So it's really, really cute. They're bunnies. And then someone had said, like, because when you came on the podcast, like, the Kissing Hand, someone said, I have this story about the locket where the mother fox gives her cub, he sees the bus full of kids, and she gives him a golden necklace with a locket. And when he goes to school, like a photo of her and him in there. And the bully, the first day of school, the bully takes it and rips it from him and runs across the bridge, and it's lost in the lake. He drops it in the river. So he doesn't have that gift. So the whole story is like, the next he goes home, he's hiding under the bed. The mother fox is like, why is he hiding under the bed? And he says, he's too scared to tell him mom the bully took it, but eventually, says this guy took it. And so she gives him a beautiful card with beautiful words to take to school the next day. And then so he has this beautiful card from his mother, and she goes, material things come and go. And so she gives him words this time. And then the bully he takes his sandwich at the lunch hour, and so he gets stressed out, and so he reads the card from his mom, and the bully named Tank goes marshmallow baby and makes fun of him and rips up his card and calls him a baby. And yeah, he's a big bully. And then he goes home, he's under the bed again. The mom's like, oh my God, what my poor son? He's going to school.
This poor mom is just like, what is going on with my kiddo?
And then so she's like, come here, I've got something magical for you. Because, like, what else can she give him? She goes, my words will last forever. Don't worry about that he ripped it up. So this time she's going to give him something magical that no one could ever take away. No one can ever take her love away. So she makes an invisible necklace and draws a little heart. So he goes to school this time. Yeah. And the bully can't take that away because he can't see it. And he finally gets a little confidence up. And then so he starts growing up to this wise old pup. And then so his mom passes away years later. He's older. He's got a little son. He's fishing. And he catches something on the fishing net. And he goes, hey, Dad, what is it? And he goes, and he sees the necklace and
What?
the locket.
No, Marilyn.
Yes.
Oh my God.
And he goes,
Yeah.
"That's your grandma's way of saying she loves you."
Oh,
So that's what you can get on my channel. So maybe one maybe
the
one day.
tears, Marilyn, the tears. That's so cute, and yeah,
So
yeah, that's a good one.
that's what I have for the kids. But one day maybe Teresa and John Hyde will say they'll make an animation of one of my stories. Who knows? Who knows?
Cute foxes are always in, I think. So
Arctic fox. Arctic fox too.
an Arctic fox. Oh, even better. Oh,
Yeah, yeah,
adorable.
yeah. But enough about like, well, I just because like when it's about anxiety, it's about the kids, but it's also about like talking about your wonderful, wonderful stories that you pick. Like, I mean, I almost have tears in my eyes when you're talking about Chester, the little raccoon, because
Yeah.
my raccoons, I made them into bandits, and but your raccoon with the kissing hand, it's so beautiful with the Jim Henson's puppets. I live by uh like La Brea, and I go by there and I took a photo of there and go, kind of visualizing like the little door outside with Charlie Chaplin.
Course, with
Yeah.
Kermit at the top,
Hmm.
welcoming everyone. Yeah, it's a really that it's a cute lot, and it was an iconic lot. It was Charlie Chaplin's lot 100 years ago.
Oh, I mean, it's like you actually got to go in and you're working with the Jim Henson puppets, which are incredible for kids, like preschool. Like, I mean, oh, yeah. Okay, I have to say, okay, because like, what's your favorite character of those, the Jim Henson puppets? Like, what do you have your favorite ones?
Huh, it's really tough to have a favorite one. I mean, I grew up on definitely grew up on Sesame Street. You know what? Though I will say, in my adult years, my favorites for Jim Henson actually became the Labyrinth and Dark Crystal, because they're so creepy and weird and amazing. And I think as a kid, I didn't watch them. I think my parents were probably like, "No, this is scary. You can't watch this." But um, as an adult, I love those movies, and I think that I mean, especially Dark Crystal, like those puppets are incredible, and I have actually been able to go to the Jim Henson Creature Shop and see
Ah,
some of those puppets, yeah,
oh my
like
gosh.
in real life, and the Skeksis, and they're huge and they're like so scary, and amazing. Yeah, it's magical. It's magical, that place. The things that they
Oh.
can create, and all of the people who work there who helped to create it, are fantastic. The guy who runs the creature shop, I think he actually designed the scary rat from the Teenage Ninja Turtles. And when I found out, I was like, "Sir, you like inspired my nightmares as a child." I just want you to know.
Oh
And
my gosh.
he laughed at me, but no, they're all great. And yeah, working with the Hensons and working especially with all the puppets in the creature shop, it's special. It's really special. I feel very, very lucky.
Oh my gosh, yeah. So I just want to remind everyone, like, streaming right now on Apple Plus TV. Check out Harriet the Spy. There's 10 new episodes, and that's just incredible. And she's got other stuff that she's working on. And Trista, do you want to come back for a part two, or do you want to talk a little bit more? It's up to you.
I'm sure. I mean, let's do it.
Okay, great. So I just want to tell everyone come back to part two with Terissa Kelton because there's so much more to talk about. All of her beautiful films that she's working on, with her partnership with her new company, Rehab Entertainment, and she's co-founder with John W. Hyde. So come on back.